Hi guys, I just want to quickly show you what I'm going to make my kids for lunch. I have some leftover rice in the fridge that I put a seal on so it's been nice and moist the whole 2 days. I think it's been in the fridge. I realized that we have some little chicken nugget kind of things from our cafeteria program that gives us lunch. So I'm going to spread these out and I'm going to make basically like a sweet and sour chicken poured over rice. So these are frozen. I spread them all out in a thin layer and I've got the oven to 400. I'm gonna go ahead and pop those in and cook them up until they're nice and done. And while that's happening, I'm gonna make a sweet and sour sauce. Now this sweet and sour sauce is really, really popular with my kids. They like it on sweet and sour meatballs. They like it over rice. We always add pineapple and bell peppers and onions after I make the sauce. But today I don't have all those. I'm not going to do all those. I'm just going to do onions. So I'll show you how I make the sauce. First, I put a half cup of vinegar, white vinegar, in a saucepan. I do a half cup of white sugar. That's a quarter cup, so I use a half. 2 of those. I do a half cup of water or chicken broth. And today I'm just going to do water because I'm making a bunch of freezer meals. And my sink is a hot mess, and I just want to get a nice hot lunch ready for my kids when they're done with their school. Okay, so I'm bringing that to a boil. I've got it on medium high. Okay. Well, let me tell you what's next. We add about a tablespoon of soy sauce and some minced garlic. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 teaspoons of soy sauce. That's about a tablespoon. It can be a little bit more. I leave out the salt. Some people like to add the salt. The recipe calls for salt, but I just put soy sauce so it has more of an Asian flavor. And then the garlic, I use this already minced garlic because I don't have time to press it. I just got to save time for my life. I'm going to put a heaping, maybe that's 2 teaspoons of garlic, a really heaping teaspoon overfill, and I stick that in there. And so I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'll show you the next step. Oh, I use my whisk for my other thing. I'll use my fancy Pampered Chef whisk. This is a really cool little fluffy whisk. Okay, so while this is heating up, it doesn't take long. I make the cornstarch slurry that I'm going to whisk in here once it's boiling. This cornstarch and water is kind of like a glue. And what happens is when this is boiling, you pour it in and you whisk it really quickly at the same time. It becomes a sauce and gels up. So for that, you need cornstarch and cold water. I'm sorry, I'm not that you need to see me, but I'm gonna get a little bowl. Cornstarch is kind of messy, so I need to use a bowl I put in my dishwasher so I get it nice and clean. And the amount of cornstarch we use for this amount of liquid is going to be about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of cold water. It's equal parts. If you're doubling a recipe, you just have to double your cornstarch and your water for that. So you prepare this before the sauce is boiling. So I hear it starting to boil already. There's my 2 tablespoons cornstarch. It's starting to boil, so I'm gonna get over here and whisk that real quick. Can you hear it? It's almost ready for the cornstarch. So I'm gonna make sure that's on medium high. I'm gonna do my 2 cold tablespoons of water. So what I do with that is it looks a little bit weird, but I just stir it and it's kind of a solid and a liquid all together. You can do lots of cool science experiments with your kids called oobleck. Look that up online. It's a pretty cool experiment. Cornstarch can be a solid and a liquid. It's pretty neat. Anyways, there we go. I've gotten all the lumps out. That's the main thing. Like, it's okay to take your time on leaving your sauce over there alone, turning it down, whatever you need, but you need to make sure for certain that all of those clumps are out. And this is a nice, smooth slurry. so that you can blend it into that boiling sugar over there, and it'll nicely change into a sauce instead of just a runny liquid. I'm gonna show you real quick what that looks like. Oopsie, where we go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, I didn't plan for this part. Okay, I'm gonna just do it this way. It's boiling, you can hear it. I'm gonna start swirling it with my whisk, and I'm gonna gently pour this in and keep swirling it. I'm never stopping, I'm constantly stirring. And then you can kind of see, I'm stirring, I can feel it thickening really instantly. And then we've got, oh, it's already pretty much thick. It's pretty thick. I don't know if you can tell, it doesn't look like water anymore. Okay, so now I've got my nice thick sauce, and what I can do is turn that off. And as it cools, it'll thicken up a little more. And it'll be a great dipping sauce for egg rolls. It'll be a great sauce to pour over our sweet and sour chicken that's cooking in the oven. That's really just chicken, breaded chicken that's frozen. Okay, this is great for my egg rolls. The kids like to dip that in egg rolls. But what I am gonna do is I'll show you what veggies I add, because we like to add veggies. Oh, that's bacon for another thing I'm working on. Let's see if I make that into a little vlog or not. Okay, so I've got a fresh cutting board side up, and I've got an onion here. And I used part of my onion for another recipe, so I saved it out because I knew I would use it up for something exciting. So they like to have like chunks, kind of chunks of fresh veggie, which doesn't get really that, should I say, it's not really tender. It's more like kind of chunked. In their sweet and sour sauce. So we usually do this with red bell peppers, onions, and sometimes tomatoes. And we'll cut it into chunks, like bite chunks, like bite size, maybe even half of that. You guys can decide what you like. And then we stir it into that sauce that I just made. Okay. And then oftentimes we'll mix in chicken in that pot, like not fried chicken, more like stir-fried chicken breast. So I'll stir-fry the chicken breast, set it to the side, make the sauce, prep my veggies, garlic, onion, red pepper, and then I'd drain a can of pineapple. And then we would get all those ready, and then we would combine it all at the end once the sauce is thick. Put all of our veggies in, and we would get it to be heating up to a boil so that the veggies sort of quick zap cook. It's a really tasty dinner, and we serve that on rice. But today I'm kind of making a different version. I've got this frozen chicken that I don't really know exactly what I want to do with. So I thought, well, I can make my own sweet and sour kind of chicken with it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to use my fresh sauce, and I'm going to throw in some onions so it gets a little bite to that, and get that going, and the kids will be surprised that I made them a hot meal for lunch between all their classes today. Hope you have a great day.